Good evening, everyone. The September 24th, 2024 meeting of the Ways and Means Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please read the roll?
Ms. Barnhart. Ms. Barnhart is present. Mr. Baines. Mr. Baines is present. Ms. Bartholomew McCoy. Ms. Bartholomew McCoy is present. Mr. Brew is excused. Mr. Colby. Mr. Colby is present. Mr. Dondorfer. Mr. Dondorfer is present. Mr. Keller. Mr. Keller is present. Chairman Mafucci.
Here.
Chairman Mafucci is present. Ms. Smith. Ms. Smith is present. Ms. Vasquez Simmons. Ms. Vasquez Simmons is present. Mr. Udelson. Mr. Udelson is present.
Legislators, will you please stand as Legislator Mercedes Vasquez Simmons will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Legislator Vasquez Simmons. Are there any speakers signed up for the public forum?
There are not.
Is there anyone else who would like to address the committee at this time? Okay. The next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the minutes from the August 27th, 2024 meeting before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business. Mr. Clerk.
I would like to move that we consider the agenda as a whole with the exception of the following items 5 and items number 306 through 310 inclusive.
Second.
Motion moved by Legislator Udelson, seconded by Legislator Smith. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Next item on the agenda.
Referral 24-0295, authorize an intermunicipal agreement with the town of Chili for the Paul Road Sidewalk Project, partially funded through Monroe County, appropriate committed fund balance, and authorize an interfund transfer.
Moved by Legislator Udelson, seconded by Legislator Vasquez Simmons. Any discussion? Legislator Baines.
You to the administration, we just passed the Brockport, Mendon, Brighton, and Riga sidewalk projects by the moving of the agenda. The Brockport project is $148 a linear foot for the total cost of the project. The Mendon project's $102 a linear foot. The Brighton project's $142 a linear foot, and the Riga project is $223 a linear foot. However, this project is $411 a linear foot, which is 4 times the amount of the Mendon sidewalk project as a linear foot. Could the administration explain the difference in the cost basis for the Chili project, please?
Through the chair, the towns themselves are the ones that produce the estimates for these sidewalks. And I'm assuming that there are maybe some sort of right-of-way costs or retaining wall costs or some other costs that the other locations did not require.
Due to the administration, I would request that the town of Chili provide us with their engineering study and the basis of their cost basis, because when one project's 4 times what another one is, we should probably know why before we vote for it. Can we request that from the town of Chili?
Through the chair, yes, we can.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please. Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item.
Referral 24-0306, authorize a contract with Keefe Commissary Network for the provision of commissary services at the Monroe County Jail and the Monroe Correctional Facility.
Moved by Legislator Udelson, seconded by Legislator Vasquez Simmons. Is there any discussion? Legislator Barnhart.
Some of my questions were answered in public safety, so thank you. Just one other question. How much money is currently in the jail commissary fund?
Through the chair, that would be approximately 3.5 million.
$5 million?
That's correct.
All right, I would like to explain my vote. This vendor, Keefe, has been in headlines across the country for things including price gouging. If you Google, not pretty. Because of that, I made an appointment to review the proposals submitted for the commissary RFP. I understand that Keefe has been our vendor for the last 5 years, and Keefe was the vendor to submit a response to the RFP. Things stood out to me. First, I really wanted to see Keefe's price list, given the publicity around the country and the controversy. I have to say, the price list seemed reasonable. There definitely was a markup, but I did not think the prices were out of line for a jail commissary. Second, I wanted to commend the sheriff's requirement that the prices be based on the market and that any changes must be reviewed by the sheriff's office. It's a wonder that other communities don't seem to have that provision. So thank you. I will be voting yes.
Any other discussion? Writer.
Mayor, what is the annual revenue received through this contract?
We estimate the annual receipts would be about $600,000.
Thank you. Yield.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 24-0307, erroneous assessments, corrections, and cancellations.
Moved by legislator Udelson, seconded by legislator Vasquez Simmons. Any discussion? Legislator Bartholomew McCoy.
Yes, through the chair, what are some of the system updates?
Through you, Mr. Chair, were we on 307? Sorry. And I'm sorry, through the chair, legislator, could you repeat the question?
Sure, I was just asking about, through the chair, what are the system updates or enhancements or to minimize the errors?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, you know, unfortunately, this is the process involved here. There isn't a way to prevent erroneous assessments from happening. There are a number of reasons why they could occur, and actually, I would defer to Ms. Grandy to elaborate on that.
Through the chair, these are exemption removals for not-for-profit corporations. There was a clerical error for a tax ID number. These are human errors, not system errors, and/or corrections due to timing.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 24-0308, authorize a contract with Game Plan Marketing to provide media buying services for departments of Monroe County.
Moved by legislator Udelson, seconded by legislator Vasquez Simmons. Any discussion? Legislator Smith.
Thank you. Through the chair to the administration, could these services be done in-house by our communication department?
Through you, Mr. Chair. No, they couldn't. We don't have anyone with expertise on staff with media buying.
Thank you. Through the chair to the administration, what will these key messages or advertisements include?
Through you, Mr. Chair. We have we have an existing contract with Game Plan Marketing. They perform a number of services for us. Typically, the dollar amount for that is under $20,000. We anticipate that changing, the potential for that changing this year. Some of the examples of what they will help us with if we place advertisements for the Board of Elections when they need election inspectors. You know, the mask and vaccine booster campaigns are things that they've done in the past, and also the Eclipse awareness campaign and other smaller social media efforts they've worked on for us.
Thank you. And through the chair to the administration, do you have any other advertisements that you see happening in 2025 that you're focusing on?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, and that's why we're looking at expanding this contract. We are working with our impact team through the health department that there would be an awareness campaign that would be started to help increase the knowledge and familiarity with the services that the impact team does, which would be related to opioids.
Great, thank you. And through the chair to the administration, the referral lists Game Plan Marketing, Inc. as the successful respondent. This appears different than the usual wording we see. Was this selected through the best value procurement?
Through the chair. I don't believe it was best value. I think we have used that language recently for the standard RFP process, but we will double check that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. And through the chair, one more question. Since this is for all departments in Monroe County, can you explain how the legislature could possibly use these services and access them?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. I would say if you were to contact our office, and we can coordinate that with the communications department.
Okay, thank you so much. I yield the floor.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 24-0309, amend Resolution 340 of 2023 to authorize renewals of the contract with Metrics Marketing for the implementation of an employment recruitment and retention advertising campaign.
Moved by legislator Udelson, seconded by legislator Bartholomew McCoy. Any discussion? Legislator Barnhart.
Yes, a year ago, we limited this contract to 1 year so the administration could report back to us on the performance of Metrics Marketing. Can you tell us about the results delivered?
Through you, Mr. Chairman. There are several things that we can report back here to the legislature on. One of the bigger successes of this contract has been the Monroe County Jobs website that has been created as part of this contract. In 2023, we had an average of 52,000 people visiting the regular Monroe County Jobs website per month. In 2024, we've had an average of 81,000 people visit the Monroe County Jobs website. Another indication of the success of this is there's been a significant increase in the number of applications that we've received through the social media channels and the advertisements that Metric Marketing has done. I can just share with you some numbers very quickly here. For the, and again, these are applications received. In the Conflict Defender's Office, the year-over-year increase in 2023, and again, these are point in times, these are February through September, all of these numbers I will be repeating here. In 2023, we had received 19 applications from the website. This year, we have received 70. Environmental services, we went from 445 to 452. Environmental services and aviation, we've gone from 108 to 138. Human services, it's gone from roughly 3,200 to 3,300. The Parks Department applications have gone up from 220 to 466. And public safety went from 181 to 384. And then finally, for transportation, we went from 181 applications received in 2023 to 319 in 2024.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Referral 24-0310, authorize various budget appropriation transfers related to the 2024 operating budget.
Moved by Legislator Udelson, seconded by Legislator Vasquez Simmons. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please. Legislator Barnhart. Go right ahead, you're okay.
I have some questions. Through the chair to the administration, can you explain the shortfalls in preschool, special education, and early intervention that requires the transfers in?
Mr. Chairman, at the risk of speaking incorrectly on behalf of Department of Public Health, I can share with this body that the primary driver of the increase in costs for EI and preschool special ed transportation is the result of having only one bidder. I believe it's Ontario Bus on the county's prior RFPs and contracts. The cost for transportation is little as, I would say 4 years ago was probably in the $8 million ballpark. It's about tripled, close to $24 million looking at next year.
Through the chair to the administration, have you had these shortfalls in previous years? What funds did you use to fill those gaps? And the early intervention?
Mr. Chairman, I do know significant cost increases incurred last year. I would have to look back at prior either third quarter or fourth quarter budget reappropriation referrals to report back to this committee and the full legislature prior to Tuesday. I don't remember if we needed a budget reappropriation from another area or if there were sufficient public assistance benefits on the other pay lines within public health, but I will follow up on that.
Chair to the administration, you're proposing taking a total of $6 million in funds from Safety Net and Family Net and Family Assistance. Why is there so much money left in those funds?
Mr. Chairman, that's really based on a projection that Department of Human Services, in consultation with our budget office, we look at year-to-date expenses within Safety Net and Family Assistance and the components of those expenses, whether it's housing, heat, or other cash assistance type benefits, and then we project them out to year end. Predominantly, the savings compared to budgeted appropriations as a result of caseload increases not being incurred to the extent originally contemplated by the budget.
Thank you. Through the chair to the administration, it would be legal to use this $6 million for extra staff, assisting applicants in completing applications, clearing backlogs, would it not?
It is, Mr. Chairman, it is within the legislature's purview to reappropriate existing appropriations, yes.
One final question before I explain my vote. How much is in our reserves for the county, our fund balance policy?
Mr. Chairman, it all depends on the point in time you look at, but I will say that per the audited 2023 financial statements, the combined assigned and unassigned fund balance was $234.6 million. Obviously, this legislature has appropriated a portion of that throughout 2024, including the adopted budget, the use of fund balance as a revenue source, the assignment of fund balance for purchase orders and encumbrance reserves that carried forward into this current year. Plus, last month, there was a referral to appropriate fund balance for several capital projects and the Medicaid upper payment limit program. Backing out those, I did put together made an attempt at a projection for a year-end surplus. We're probably looking at $169 million after all those prior appropriations and a potential general fund surplus. So it's about $169 million, of which we'll, of course, be appropriating significant balances from that for the 2025 budget, as contemplated by the two-year forecast when the 24 budget was presented. So that's a very long story. I believe we'll have maybe $130 million after we get through the 25 budget process. The current 10% threshold would put us somewhere between $141 and $161 million.
Thank you very much, Mr. Franklin, for that explanation. I would like to explain my vote. Last year at this time, the administration proposed transferring $1.9 million from the Human Services budget to the zoo, golf courses, and parks. Having been embarrassed, it's good to see the administration not make this same mistake. However, this is still wrong. The last time I checked, we have a backlog of benefits cases. We have hundreds of families facing evictions. We have children who are homeless. We have social workers threatening to leave if they don't get bonuses. And we have one of the highest benefit denial rates in the state. Last year, we were told there's nothing else you can do with the funds to address human service needs. That was not true then, and it is not true now. This year, you're putting us in the position of having to choose between vulnerable children who need services and people who are struggling with basic needs. It's smart to make sure there's enough money for safety net programs to cover the year. But when there are funds that you don't need for specific programs, you should find other uses for those funds in that department. The needs are that great, and you've had all year to plan for this moment. Instead, we're plugging gaps elsewhere in the budget when we certainly have other options. These should not be our choices. These are not our choices. And I want to be clear that, of course, I support funding for children needing special services, but I do not support doing it this way, and I will be voting no.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Roll call vote.
Ms. Barnhart. Ms. Barnhart votes no. Mr. Baines. Mr. Baines votes yes. Ms. Bartholomew McCoy. Ms. Bartholomew McCoy votes yes. Mr. Brew is excused. Mr. Colby. Mr. Colby votes yes. Mr. Dondorfer. Mr. Dondorfer votes yes. Mr. Keller. Mr. Keller votes yes. Ms. Smith. Ms. Smith votes yes. Ms. Vasquez Simmons. Ms. Vasquez Simmons votes no. Mr. Udelson. Mr. Udelson votes yes. Chairman Mafucci.
Yes.
Chairman Mafucci votes yes. 8-2, referral passes.
Are there any other matters to come before this committee? Seeing none, seeing there be no other matters, the September 24th, 2024 meeting of the Ways and Means Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Ways and Means Committee will be Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024 at 6 p.m.